Let's be honest. We've all sat in a classroom and thought, why am I even learning this? You stare at the board full of formulas, dates, and definitions, and your mind whispers, how is this going to help me in real life? But you can't ask that question out loud, because that's not what school is built for. School was meant to prepare us for life, but most of the time, it just prepares us for exams. We spend years learning how to fill answer sheets, instead of building the mindset to handle real challenges, and yet, no one talks about it. In this video, I'll tell you 6 major problems with our school system that nobody really talks about but everyone feels. Because if we don't understand what's broken, we can never build something better. So stay with me, because this video might just make you see school in a way you've never seen before. Problem Hasson grades over growth. Picture this. A boy studies day and night, chasing that one perfect day. He sacrifices sleep, hobbies, even friends just to see that grade on his report card. And when he gets it, he smiles for a day. Then the pressure starts again. Meanwhile, another student tries hard too but struggles. She improves every week, learns from her mistakes, and still gets labeled as average. That's the first big problem school teaches us, that grades define our value. An A means you're smart. AC means you're lazy. An F? Failure. But here's the truth. Grades measure your memory, not your intelligence. They show how well you play the game, not how much you've grown. Some of the most successful minds in history, Einstein, Edison, even Steve Jobs, were terrible students by the system's standards. But they had one thing school didn't measure: curiosity. If schools celebrated effort as much as perfection, if they rewarded creativity as much as memorization, we'd have more inventors, thinkers, and leaders, not just test takers. Because the real measure of success isn't your grade, it's your growth. Problem #2, memory over understanding. Let me take you back to exam week. It's 11:30 p.m. You're half asleep, surrounded by notes and coffee. You repeat the same lines again and again, hoping they'll somehow stick till morning. And they do, just long enough to fill the paper. 2 days later, gone. Completely gone. That's how most of us were trained, not to learn, but to cram. School rewards short-term memory, not deep understanding. You can top a class without ever really thinking. We're taught what to remember instead of how to learn. And that's why so many students feel lost when they finally step into real life. Because real problems like handling stress, managing money, or building relationships can't be solved by memorizing notes. We need to teach students to think critically, to ask questions, to explore the why behind every answer. Because knowledge isn't power, understanding is. Problem #3, creativity is crushed early. Do you remember being a kid? Drawing wild shapes, asking crazy questions, imagining worlds that didn't exist? That was creativity, pure, natural, and alive. But the older we got, the quieter that imagination became. Because somewhere in school, someone said, that's not how it's supposed to be. Stay inside the lines. Follow the rule. And little by little, curiosity died. Let me tell you about a story that happens in almost every classroom. A teacher asks the class to draw a tree. Every child picks up a crayon. Some draw blue trees, some purple, some wild and full of stars. Then the teacher says, no, trees are green. That one small correction may sound harmless, but it sends a message. Don't be different. Don't imagine. Just copy. And that's where creativity starts to fade. Schools don't mean to kill creativity. They just don't know how to nurture it. We're trained to find the right answer instead of new answers. But the truth is, the world doesn't need people who only repeat what's been done. It needs innovators who dare to imagine something better. If schools taught us to question instead of conform, we wouldn't just pass exams. We'd rewrite the rules of the world. Problem #4, mental health is ignored. Let's talk about something schools rarely mention: mental health. Students today carry invisible backpacks full of anxiety, pressure, and fear of failure. The system doesn't see it because it only measures scores. You can score 95% and still feel like you're drowning inside. You can smile every day and still feel completely lost. But in school, no one asks, are you okay? They only ask, did you finish your homework? Let me tell you a story I've seen play out too many times. A student works day and night to keep up, not because they love learning, but because they're terrified of disappointing their parents. Every test, Every grade becomes a battle between self-worth and self-doubt. Then one day, they break down. Because nobody ever told them, it's okay to rest, it's okay to fail, it's okay to be human. Our schools are filled with lessons about math and history, but almost none about how to handle emotions, deal with stress, or build confidence. We learn how to pass tests, not how to protect our minds. If emotional intelligence was treated like a real subject, anxiety, burnout, and depression wouldn't steal so many young lives. Because the truth is, mental health isn't a side topic. It's the foundation of everything. Problem #5. One system for all minds. Imagine if every student in your class was forced to wear the same size shoes no matter how big or small their feet were. Sounds ridiculous, right? But that's exactly how our education system works. One syllabus, one teaching method, one definition of smart, but no two brains are the same. Some people learn visually, some by doing, some by listening. Some are born to lead, others to create. Yet, we judge them all by the same test, as if a fish, a bird, and a monkey were all asked to climb the same tree. Think about that for a second. A fish will spend its whole life believing it's stupid just because it couldn't climb. That's what happens when schools treat every student the same. Instead of discovering our strengths, we're forced to hide them to fit in. Real education should be like a mirror showing you who you are, not who you're supposed to be. We need schools that teach individuality, not uniformity. Because genius doesn't fit in a mold, it breaks it. Problem #6. We're taught to work, not to live. Let's be real for a moment. Most schools don't teach us how to live, they teach us how to work. From childhood, we're told, study hard, get good grades, get a job. That's it. That's the entire formula. But nobody teaches us how to find purpose, how to build happiness, how to manage failure, or even how to think for ourselves. We spend years learning how to earn a living, but almost no time learning how to build a life worth living. Here's a story that sums it up. There was a student named Amir, top of his class, always disciplined, straight A's. Everyone said, he'll be successful one day. Years later, Amir got his dream job. But something felt off. He wasn't happy. He was working long hours, earning good money. Yet every morning, he asked himself, is this all there is? Because school had trained him to exist, not to live. We need schools that teach balance, not just ambition. That remind students that success is not about money or marks, it's about meaning. A good education shouldn't just prepare you for a career, it should prepare you for life. Imagine a school where students aren't afraid to make mistakes, because that's where growth begins. Where teachers inspire curiosity instead of fear. Where grades matter less than effort. Where creativity isn't punished, it's celebrated. Where mental health is treated like math essential, not optional. Imagine classrooms filled with energy, imagination, and kindness. A place where students aren't forced to fit in, but encouraged to stand out. That's what real education looks like. Not a system that makes everyone the same, but one that helps everyone become who they truly are. Because education should never be about producing workers. It should be about creating humans, thinkers, creators, dreamers, and problem solvers. That's the system our world needs now. And maybe, just maybe, that change starts with us. So here's the truth. The school system might not change overnight, but awareness, that's the first step. When students, parents, and teachers start questioning why we do things the old way, that's when the system begins to evolve. Every generation has a chance to rewrite the rules. And maybe it's our turn. You have a voice. You have ideas. You have the power to learn beyond the classroom. Education doesn't stop at the school gate. It continues every time you open a book out of curiosity. Every time you ask why. Every time you choose to grow instead of just pass. School teaches you the basics. But life teaches you the truth. If this video made you think differently about your own education, don't stop here. Smash that subscribe button right now and become part of the studaraX.pk family, a community that's not just studying harder, but smarter. Every week, we drop powerful videos to help you master focus, learning, and motivation so you can grow into your full potential. Hit that bell icon right now so you never miss a new upload, because the next one could be the one that changes your entire mindset. Drop a comment below and tell me which problem hit you the hardest, because trust me, someone else out there needs to read your story. And if you know a friend who's stuck in the same system, share this video with them. Let's start a conversation that can actually make a difference. Remember, you don't need permission to learn. You just need curiosity and courage. This is studaraX.pk, reminding you, stay focused, stay hungry, and never stop growing.